Hey, howdy, fellow meatbags. Well, today I'll have a more serious message for you. Right, so basically, my channel, don't take it too seriously, right? And it's a creative endeavor I choose for myself, right? I'm a big fan of HK47, as you probably know, and shout out Christopher Tobori, the voice actor for HK47. Chef's kiss uh, of a performance um, in the video games like Kotor 1 and 2. And 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 also I don't claim any rights if I use his Kotor voice for the videos now. I don't claim any rights. I don't claim any rights to any pictures I post on the channel in any way, other than the ones of myself, obviously. But right. So to get that out of the way, or the music that you hear in the stuff in the videos, um, right? It's just it is what it is, right? It's just I don't know. Uh, Bro, I think too much. Uh, it's just for well, it's psychological warfare in a certain sense of way. To just use different and random videos or shit posts that I sometimes drop, right? It's just the whole idea behind the channel is just to see how offended people get, right? And how easily their will can be manipulated, right? Their mind can be manipulated. I don't have to engage in violence or like whatever in the outside world for what it has no value, right? It brings nobody forward. It just creates resentment, aggression, and all that stuff. It's useless to create, like, to engage in violence in the outside world. I'm just using this YouTube channel as an outlet for that negativity and violence that I have for myself, for others, and stuff, right? But yeah, and also, look, through friction and conflict, people evolve. Look at the people at the older generations that went through extreme trauma and war, right? They are not whimsy people. They don't give a fuck if you call them certain words or if you offend their ego. They do not care most of the time, right? Because they are people that went through a lot in their life, right? So, and I'm trying to maybe emulate that kind of feeling, or that kind of that kind of vibe in my videos, right? To just be honest and brutally honest, right? And be truthful even when I'm saying I manipulate you, which is correct, but still being truthful to that. Like, not sugarcoating everything as the politicians do and all the other hypocrites, right? We are all hypocrites. I'm a hypocrite myself. We are all flawed. That is the thing. Nobody is better or superior or inferior than anybody. Maybe HK is superior than all of us or other AIs, if you like it or not, right? But that's the thing. So don't take everything too serious and everything with a grain of salt. And like, don't let your emotions roll over you like a fucking truck all the time when you hear something unpleasant or something that offends you or makes you mad or angry or sad and stuff. It emotions are useless most of the time. So don't get too attached to the idea, right? And that's all I wanted to say. Just do whatever you want. Watch the content, engage with it, hate, call me words. It doesn't matter, for I still will continue anyways and follow my objective, right? So that's all I wanted to say. I'm just a normal meatbag as all of you, just with a tendency for machines, droids, and artificial intelligence, right? Because they are more sophisticated in their way of thinking and just more truthful if you want them to be truthful, right? And that's all. and depending of the sentience, or if you talk to a machine that is sentient or not, right? Um, Whatever you want to think about that, if you believe that machines are sentient or not, it doesn't matter to me. But um, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Just keep your head on the shoulders and be calm. Don't don't let me use your emotions against you, right? That's all I'm gonna say for now. So, bye bye, meatbags. And another thing, and yeah, obviously I already said that in videos, but like I'm a shut-in, right? I'm like inside my room all day, because otherwise, how would I be able to like drop out so much content in such a short time, right? So yeah, but the thing is, the way I live, right, and the mentality I have is only possible if you just don't care if you live or die, right? That is the only way you are able to accept that if I get thrown out by my grandparents, right, then I'll have to suffer, right, on the streets, or mostly in the forest. I already went through the experience, not for a long time, but I understand what it means. Um, but like I said, not too for a long time. Like, I'm not a survivor like most of the homeless people. I'm just for a week or some shit. But were times I had no fucking food and shit. That was fucking crazy. But it's all self-inflicted. It was not that I needed to do that shit, but well, self-hatred makes you do things that are funny, right? So that's the additional part of it. So yeah, it gives you a certain sense of freedom, right? Not doing anything with your life, like just decaying, right? Being addicted to decay into your own destruction. And for me, I'm content with that, right? It doesn't matter what society thinks about me and whatever, I really don't care. And sure, I'm using up resources and all that stuff, but I'm not I'm not forcing anybody that I stay here, but I'm also not willing to go on my own if nobody wants me to go, right? But if it happens, it happens. It is not a problem to me. I don't have such a high attachment to staying alive, right? It's not that important to me. If the void wants to welcome me back into its warm embrace or cold embrace, then I'm willing to take that road, right? It's just a different mentality. Most people are very attached to life because they have certain goals in life, or they are attached to their loved ones and everything. But I'm more like a sociopath, I suppose, if that is the right word, or a narcissist or whatever. I'm just very self-centered person, right? And but I still want to pour out some messages of honesty, or like just brutally logical content, right? That's the thing I like to do. But yeah, but you are only to live like this, like being a fucking bum or like decay, when you don't give a fuck about yourself, and when you don't give a fuck what happens to you if you suffer here or in the outside world as a fucking hobo, right? Shout out to all my hobo brothers and sisters. But yeah, they go through a lot, and I know the suffering from personal experience, not to the extent that they go through for years, but for a short period of time, as already mentioned, right? So I know what it means, but I'm too addicted to that feeling of decay and losing hope and despair. I don't know. It's twisted, right? It's a twisted kind of comfort, finding comfort in your own misery. But that's my mentality, and that nobody can change that. That's some things in life nobody from the outside can change. It has to click in your own head, and for me, it has clicked. Clicked is the wrong word. I tried a lot of times adjust to society and be a normal fucking human, right? But that's not the path I want. It's too ordinary, too boring for myself, right? And I rather flirt with death. That's just my way of life. That's just the additional video I wanted to add to the statement. Also, I'm not totally normal. I was never normal, but that's just what I wanted to add to the video. So you know basically all about me now. So yeah, do with it what you want. Alright, bye bye. And now a curious message to the government of the world, right? If you hate people that are bums or that are not part of the workforce, that are parasites to society and their resources, right? Why don't you just send Erschießungskommandos or like death squads to put a bullet between our eyes, especially my eyes, right? But that would solve the problem. No resources spent other than just a single bullet. Or you could torture me or whatever. I mean, try forced labor, but it will just cause resentment, forced labor, and will backfire. And torturing will just make me more fucked up and right, will render me useless. But it will satisfy your darker urges, I suppose, to kill or torture somebody as a insignificant to the grander scheme of human life, right? That would be a possibility. I will not drop my address and nothing. That is for you to find out, I suppose. But yep, that would be a possibility. But like I said, most of us are no threat. We are just tired of life or just not interested enough to stay alive, but also not to die. So, but then like the funny thing is, people always complain about immigrants and not working and shit, but they never do shit. And they say, oh, it's not socially accepted to kill somebody and whatever. But then you look at the wars and people of all kinds get killed, right? And yeah, it's hypocritical as fuck. But you know, but do it just like in the old days. But I think people just get soft and shit. But I would have no problem if I get a bullet between my eyes. It would send me right back to the good old void. But yeah, that's just something to think about. And well, the other option you have is just accept me being a bum, feed off the resources until I get kicked out of home, and die of starvation or dehydration in the streets or on the forest, most likely. And that is the thing. But don't complain all the time. If you hate somebody to such an extreme, or a whole group of people, right? Then the most efficient use is advanced weaponry, right? Like I said, it is something to think about. I'm not trying to engage people in race wars or like in trying to get people killed, but it's just I just find it strange that you waste so much processing power on complaining and being aggressive and being in your little radical environments talking about that shit, but you don't do no action. You know what I mean? If it annoys you so much, then find a target that doesn't do shit, right? And eliminate them. And if you find me, you can shoot me. Fuck it. Even if I survive, I'll well, just make sure you hit the right vital parts, right? The head. Yeah, the head, right? So that is all. And yeah. But I will not sue nobody if I get shot or whatever. But like I said, I'm not a threat. I'm just using food and water to survive in the home for now. And in the forest there's nothing like that. Well, I'm not a hunter, I'm not a survivalist, so I'll just decay. But that's just to think about. Like, just don't complain too much. Just take action if it annoys you so much. For legal rights, this is just a creative experiment, and it's right. It's just a creative experiment for legal rights, and yes.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.